Well, the rally in mega cap tech is pausing. What does that mean for the rest of the market as it brought us to these elevated levels? A lot of earnings from mid cap companies, some important, some not. Disaster stock of the day, Skyworks. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about what you want to talk about because this is pre-market prep. Let's get it rolling.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your hosts, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. We're starting the day in the red by 15 3/4 handles at 41.37, hanging out right at yesterday's low. We have the buck trading up 22.5 cents at 101.38. Bonds up a half a point, 130 and 13/30 seconds. Crude down 72 cents to 72.44. Gold hanging up here near 2050, up 580 at 2039. Silver going the other way by a nickel, 25.78.5. Bitcoin futures, they're trading in the green at $355 at 27,725. So Triple D is once again kicking himself for not going large at Palantir.
Or AMD.
AMD.
Yeah, or AMD. I just should listen to myself more. All I had to do yesterday was short WAL, short pack W, and buy AMD and just rake it all in. It was literally just that kind of day, though, for me, where I'm calling it right, I'm feeling it right, I'm just not trading it right. So, anyways, I got sidetracked. Did not buy AMD. Should have. Congratulations. Multiple people reaching out to me again. On AMD.
That, I thought you would have got that 90 pullback right over.
It wasn't
the
much
VWAP.
there, Mitch.
There was a little move where it went to like 90 40s, and then I was like, man, this come back.
It went to the
90.
89s actually. So it
yeah,
did touch
it was
the
a nice
89s,
little move
and then
there.
she just screamed higher. I still like the AMD on the pullback, so I'm going to stay bullish AMD. I still don't like any of the regional banks, so I'll stay bearish them. And what a selling opportunity for PAC-W and WAL yesterday. WAL hitting up almost $32 in the pre-market, getting most of the losses back. PAC-W, same thing. You got to take those opportunities, take the money and run if you're able to get in those things. I mean, it was too much too fast coming back down from 250 to 750 yesterday. I don't think these things are out of trouble, but there's lots of things that are doing really well too. Like we said, AMD, AI, talk. There's lots of drivers here that you could see that could propel us higher here. So let's go to the title of the show here.
Yeah. Before that, though, I just want to say with that PAC-W, last week they're selling themselves. This week things are looking okay. I mean,
it went up 50% in the pre-market, down 50%.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? I mean, exactly. And then also before we get to these individual stocks, this is a meandering market, Dennis. And I know that these are not triple D. I mean, there are some individual stocks moving here, but we're stuck. We are stuck. We got the inflation data coming out later in the week, but man, volatility coming in.
Big time.
I mean, yeah.
We have been stuck, and I'll keep saying it. We have been stuck for basically 12 months. We have gone nowhere in the S&P. And bring up the chart here again. It's a good exercise because people are like, there's some people who believe in a bull market, some people who believe we're in a bear market. The market we're really in is a sideways market in the U.S. IWM, yes, has been kind of bearish. QQQs has been kind of bullish, but the S&P kind of gives you an overall feel here. And it has been sideways. We look, where were we in 2022? Let's go back all the way to February. So we're talking 15 months now. We were at 410 on the SPY. Oh, look, we're still at 410 on the SPY. Here we are in May, 410 on the SPY. Here we are in June, 410 on the SPY. Here we are in July. Not July. Yeah, July. 410 on the SPY. Here we are in August and September, 410 on the SPY. Here we are back in October, 410 on the SPY. Here we are in February of 2023, a year later, 410 on the SPY. We are sideways. How do you make money in sideways markets? You fade everything. That's what continues to work. That's how I made my year last year, was contrarian strategies working. That continues to work here. Fading moves.
And except for a little spike out here and there, basically 370 to like 420. I mean, yeah, you can talk about the spikes down to 350. Sure. This is where you had your little spikes out here, but if you got, if you were either short at this area, and you said, okay, maybe I caught most of the move, I'm going to sit it out. You didn't miss too much. If you were, the longs have been a little bit more difficult, because you did have, I believe this was the August spike, but I mean, come on, a 50-point range, going all the way back to them. I mean, that is your definition of chop and slop. Mitch, you puzzled me on something you said yesterday about Apple, and you wanted to do some clarification on that.
Yeah. One of the things is we always try to get things right, and sometimes I catch things pretty quickly in the morning. I was watching the Warren Buffett going through the highlights, and one of the ones that I skipped through really quickly was that Apple question. So I just want to clarify, and I had someone reach out to me in the chat also. Thank you guys, like always. You guys are always willing to reach out to us, let us know we made a mistake. We'll always clarify it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give the right information. So on the question of yesterday's question of, is Apple 35% of Warren Buffett's portfolio? The way that he really went about this is that he considers his public equity portfolio and his private businesses as one complete portfolio.
Gotcha.
And so that's how that renders Apple as a smaller position towards 6%. Okay, so I just want to clarify that. And like always, I want to be transparent, try to give the best news as possible. So I appreciate whoever reached out to me.
Because he has so many private businesses that aren't traded. That's why. So when you're looking at that, that makes sense there. So when we consider all the
just want to clarify that for Buffett. All right, guys, but we can move on. Your AMD trade, definitely good call out there, Dennis. The banks definitely started coming back down yesterday, and it wasn't only the regionals. I started seeing Bank of America, Goldman Sachs starting to come down. So I took FAZ swing trade yesterday. Nice. I still have a piece of that, going to continue to work that position. And that's one of the ways that I'm going after these bank trades now, because I'm too worried about one giving me a, disaster, tape bomb overnight, whether it be to the upside or downside. So I don't mind going after it with a little bit of a leverage kind of ETF action here with FAZ. That's the way I'm going about it. We'll see what happens today.
Mitch, that's a great point you're making here. And when you do have a lot of risk, sometimes just diversifying and trading the ETF is the better way to go. And I do pick on the KRE and the KBE, and I am hesitant to trade a PACW. I am hesitant to trade a WAL because we just don't know, if a headline comes all of a sudden, like we saw, the Financial Times headline there from WAL last week, and then it's not true. Stock's going to halt. It's gapping up. It's gapping down. It's gapping all over the place. The safer way on a lot of these has been to trade the ETFs, and KRE and KBE are very liquid.
Not the price action you wanted to see in the KRE yesterday. Not at all by any stretch of the imagination.
Giving it back.
Giving it all back. And once again, where we're trying to give some emphasis here, the reason we do the show here is we like to see what the larger players are doing in the pre-market. They're out there. I mean, there's some institutions that can't trade in it, but if you were looking for, some of your indications, and even if you're not trading in the pre-market, use it as an indication. But the other thing besides the pre-market is what we try and emphasize is the opening tick. That's where you have probably your most volume on the day, where buyers and sellers come together. You're open in the KRE. Let's say you're buying that open at 39.26. You got 13 cents a daylight, right? There was no daily level to lean on, a daily high or low, but you got 13 cents a daylight when it went to 39.39. When it came down back through that opening print, I mean, you had no business, trying a long, and you should have been trying to, get shorts. Now, of course, it always can reverse in the session, but using that pre-market along with that opening print can definitely give you an indication. And this is something, not just applying it to like one ETF or one thing. This is something that you can apply to all stocks, all commodities, all futures. But
I feel like it's Teaching Tuesday, and we don't have a lot of major companies, but we have a lot of companies reporting. But we can skip on a few of those just to teach an important lesson that Joel is bringing up here. And you taught me this back in 1999, this opening, just watching the opening, paying attention to these prices here, Joel. And you're absolutely correct. I mean, there's a lot of times where you can use that opening price as your stop out point, where if you're trading, when a stock opens up here and then continues to go higher, maybe it's going to be the gap and go. But if all of a sudden, it starts to come back down through that opening price, that's where you maybe sometimes even flip and go short. Those opening prices are very important because there's a lot of people. The opening event is an auction on stocks, and there's a lot of people who will be priced from that point. So let's say the stock opens, closed at 2050, opens at 21. Well, you have a lot of people who are, buying and selling, trying to get on that opening print. So now you have day traders positioned long or short from that opening print. So that opening price has what we call memory. And, there's so many traders that are just looking at no charts, but that opening price is so valid and so important. And too many traders just don't even look at that information. They don't even have it on their screen. So, bring it up and have that opening price. And if your software doesn't have the opening price, get different software because you're missing important information. On my montage, so that's the montage that's showing me all the pricing points. I obviously have my bid, my ask is on there. I have, the last price, the previous close is important. But I have the high and the low on there too. But the other one I have on there is the open. The open is so important. So I just wanted to stress that because we haven't talked this for a while here yet. And if you're a day trader and you're not using the opening prices, and we're not talking about the 9:30 open. So here's another issue too, is that you have a consolidated open where the first print on any exchange at 9:30,000, some platforms consider that the opening print. That is not the real opening print on NYSE. It's the consolidated print where they have the auction go off. And that's where you see sometimes where the opening print sometimes happens 30 seconds after the open. Where is that first print on those New York stocks?
With the volume.
With the volume, the boom, like the 100,000 print, not the 100 share print. Where's the 100,000 print? Where you have all those. That's the opening print we're talking about.
And speaking with the montage here too, with mine, obviously the last price, right, is the most important thing. I got last net change, right? I want to see the net change, and then net percentage change, right? Looking at things on a percentage basis, and then open high low volume. I mean, that's what I need to see. And then also, and we talk about the strategies, and I think, Dennis, you've over the years, you're not trading as much into the past 9:30, 10 o'clock or whatever. But if you're going to take like a two approach to strategy in something where you're going to try a long, and then if that long doesn't work, flip it to a short, which can be a dangerous thing, or vice versa. You're going to get that most opportunity off the open. If you're going to do it, if you're trying that strategy at like 11:30, I don't know so much about it, but and I think that's one thing where I get too stuck in one direction. Like, I know the market's going down today. I know it. My levels say it, but I don't look at the opposite side. So if you're going to think about reversals and things like that, a lot of times that can save you on a trade. But
and there's still, I mean, even
ahead.
staying here because it's so valid here. I mean, some people I think enjoy the education. If you do enjoy more education, let us know there, because we can do stuff like this more often, especially on the slow days. Some people come to us for all the news, and we do cover the news pretty well. But I also feel like a big component is education here. And, this opening strategy, there's so many different strategies around it. Like Don Bright taught the Bright traders, years ago about fair value and enveloping around where a stock should open. So stocks, that have no news. So what he would always do is take out all the stocks with news, because of the news event, a stock's going to move off of its news. But if there's no news, he'd take the beta and he'd look at that and say, well, the beta's 2, the stock should open twice as much as the market. So what he would do is he'd sell short above that fair value where he's deemed, and he would buy below that, and he'd send spreadsheets and do hundreds of different stocks where he's selling them if they open too high and buying them, selling them short if they open too high and buying them if they open too low. And that strategy has been one of my core strategies for 22 years, just taking advantage of an opening price that's too high or too low. And that's something that continues to work because the arbitrage sometimes brings it in right away as well. I mean, sometimes you miss a piece of news and it doesn't always work. Nothing works 100% of the time. But if that strategy works 52% of the time, you make money. Don Bright taught us a lot back in the day.
And the final thing on this, and then we can move on to the Palantir earnings, is you have a reference point. You're trading, no matter how good your technical levels are, or if you don't trade technically at all, you know that's where the volume is going on that print. So if in fact you're buying Palantir here, they think, oh, they almost got it to $10, now it's down. I'm just buying the open. Opens 885. Goes up to $10, 1002. Oh, I'm looking pretty good. But then it whooshes back down through the open. But Mitch, Palantir way off its high, still up $1.23. That's a good move. That's up 16%. Did they talk some AI?
Let's talk some Palantir. Q1 EPS at 5 cents beat the 4-cent estimate here. Let me go ahead and make sure I get that on the bottom for you guys. Sales of 525.19 million beat the 505.6 million estimate. They do see Q2 revenue 528 million to 532 million versus 536.2 million estimate. They also see fiscal year 23 revenues at 2.185 billion to 2.235 billion versus a 2.2 estimate. This was given by the CEO of Palantir. He stated that the depth of engagement with and demand for our new artificial intelligence platform, AIP, is without precedent. So you guys check out to see what happens there from Palantir moving forward in AI.
It's going to be an AI play, and we've talked about this one before. I was stopped out on the trade. We talked about this on the close here too, on Joel's show at the close at PreMarketPrep.com. And I was talking about possibly taking it long through the report, like just getting long, because I felt like they were going to talk AI. I felt like it was going to move the stock. It did. I did not go long into the report. I should have. I really thought about it. I was like, I should. It's one of those, like, my spiny senses. I'm in like this zone right now where my spiny senses are right, but I'm like not executing. And sometimes you're going to get into that situation. Like my spiny senses were right on AMD. They were right on WAL. They were right on PACW. And they were definitely right on Palantir. But, your timing is off or you're not executing. And these slumps happen. You just got to play through it. What really is when you're struggling is when you're making bad calls and your timing is off. So sometimes you can make good calls or bad calls or, but your timing is just off. If you're really struggling, it's like you're making the wrong call all the time. So I feel like I'm right there. And I had a really tough month last month, just little bad beats where, I got hit with random news on the wrong side. Little things. The volatility coming in didn't help me overall. But, I still feel like I've got it. It's just like, I'm just, not executing well. And a little bit of it snowballs too, because you're struggling. You're like, well, I don't want to take a shot on this through earnings. When it's going well, Joel, you're like, I've been making lots of money. I'm going to take a shot on this too. And then you make more money. So I really wanted to buy that Palantir in the report. I did not. I know there was a couple of people who reached out to me that they did take it through the report. So good job for those who did. $10 is huge on this though.
You know what, Dennis? I've been telling you. I just want you to take just one day off. Just do 1 3-day weekend. Just like clear out. I bet you if you did that, and just came back and just cleared it out, I think you would be, you would because you've had a lot of biases, right? And I think you've had so many biases. You're like, tearing yourself, every which way. But everyone's saying no day off, and it is spidey sense. I used to, when I first heard it, I'm like, spiny sense, and then it is spidey sense. It got the pop, it got the big pop, and then I'm like, well, are they going to let this go into double digits? Just nothing. I don't even know if there was anything. Yeah, there was some highs just above 10, but man, you had a lot of people thinking, well, I'm going to put my order out at 10. I want to get lifted at 10, and then other people started thinking, well, there's a lot of size there probably at 10. I'm going to go 998. 997, 996. And then the bid, then they stopped getting lifted there. So then they said, okay, I'm going to lock it down at 990. And then, so that's what you had. You just simply ran out of buyers. Now you're finding some support here on the pre-market chart right here at the 880 area. The only problem for me is it's just, where's my out here? If I was buying it off the open, the top of yesterday's range is 786. I'm still not gonna. I'm not gonna risk a buck on a $9
No,
stock,
it's hard to do
right?
that.
So where's your out? You gonna go 20, 30 cents? I mean, you kind of putting yourself in no man's land. Now, if it came down to the $8 area, one big seller came in, then I'd have to take a look at it. And so we'll see. Right now, finding some intraday support. We'll see what happens when the real liquidity comes in.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get to the next headline here. Let's go to Lucid and Fisker. Let's get to some of those vehicles. Wow. Which one do you prefer, chat? Which if you had to go get a vehicle and you were going to get the Lucid or the Fisker, of course they're different price. So maybe if you want for the Lucid Air, I understand. But which one would you get, chat? We'll go ahead and throw that question out there, and let me give the numbers here. Lucid Group Q1 EPS at a loss of 43 cents, missed the loss of 41 cent estimate. Sales of 149.43 million, missed a 209.88 million estimate. They did file for a mixed shelf of up to $7.4 billion, produced 2,314 vehicles at its manufacturing facility in Arizona, and delivered 1,406 vehicles in Q1. Lucid does plan to manufacture more than 10,000 vehicles in 2023. So that's Lucid. Now, just to give Fisker, so we can do them together here. Sure. Fisker Q1 EPS loss of 38 cents, missed the loss of 30 cent estimate. Sales of 190,000, missed the 14.35 million estimate there. Fisker expects to produce 1,400 to 1,700 vehicles in Q2, provided Fisker's suppliers and partners can support this volume and ramp. Bloomberg had reported that Fisker was having delays to its debut due to software issues, and Fisker brushed it off and said that the Ocean SUV software glitch reports are misleading.
Wow, lots to take in here. A fantastic follow on Twitter, Wasteland Capital. He's at e-commerce, or he or she at e-commerce shares. And he breaks these stuff down and he does a really nice job with it. I'm not sure if you can show it or not. I did retweet it, Mitch, if you can find it. But I'll just read, some of their analysis. Again, I haven't checked any of this analysis. I'm just reading from that. But I do follow this Wasteland Capital, and they do a great job. And they're talking about, this quarter here for Lucid. So sold 1.4 thousand cars, yet approximately 4,000 cars in unsold inventory. That sounds really bad because, you're supposed to be a startup here. You're producing the cars and not buying them. So that sounds really bad to me. Revenue, 150 million, costs 922 million to produce that 150 million, saying they lose approximately 560,000 a car right now. Holy mackerel. $1 billion in quarterly cash burn, 3.4 billion in cash left. I mean, this is trouble here. So again, the one thing they do have going for is the Saudis own a huge chunk of Lucid. So that does obviously, they can probably go to them for some financing if it really gets tough. But this has just been, this just didn't sound like a good quarter at all for Lucid, at least according to Wasteland Capital.
Let me do my technical analysis on all these. They're all zero.
Some of them are.
I don't even know. 1,400 cars, losing 500,000 a car. You make one car.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to keep it simple.
I mean, people are keeping
the car's
cars
not out
for
yet.
longer. Chargers, what's going on with the car is not out yet. Okay, charging stations. I mean, we're still not. I don't know about the infrastructure. A buddy of mine, and I don't know if he had his statistics correct or something, but he bought a Tesla and. I could drive 300 miles or 400 miles, and I gotta charge it. I mean, what's going on? I mean, and even look at Tesla. I mean, Tesla had its run. They're gonna have their market share. I mean, when are we going to stop talking about all these garbage companies that do nothing but lose money, hardly sell any cars? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that it's going on for this long. When can we just put these companies out of our misery and just move on? It's not happening. And I don't know if Ford is a great buy or GM's a great buy or Tesla's a great whatever. But all these little we've been talking. How many years since Mitch you came on with those SPAC attacks? I mean, how long have we been talking about these crappy companies? I almost feel like they should be absolutely banned from the show because it's ridiculous. It's all we talk about is how little cars they produce, right? How much money they're losing, and how much things better they're going to be in the future.
Because at the end of the day, we are not trying to, a lot of investors in these companies are not looking at what it is valued now, but what it's going to be valued down the line. So they see value down the line, Joel.
Less. We
You
want
see less. Some people
we want
still
people
see
to
more.
lose less money. That's the goal
Some
of
people
this
still
show.
see more.
We don't want people to make dumb investments. Right.
And I mean, I understand that, but I would still say that the Fisker Ocean is a good vehicle, good pricing.
Is it a good stock?
I think Fisker is not a zero. I'm with you, Mitch.
I would personally say I would go on Fisker. I don't support Lucid. I think they're way too expensive. I think they cost too much. You see that, and how much the vehicle actually costs them to make. And I think that Fisker is doing it the right way, going with Magna International.
Teamed up with Magna helps.
Teamed up with a real manufacturer, not I want to make the vehicle. Is I have the design and I'm going to give it to a manufacturing facility to make it.
I agree. I think Fisker is not a zero. I don't know where the value is, but Joel makes such a fantastic point here too, because there is just, too many of these startup EV companies, and there's not going to be that many in the future. And a lot of them will be zeros. And maybe Lucid is a zero. Maybe Fisker is a zero too. I don't think Fisker is a zero. I don't own any of these things. I had Fisker for a while in 2021. It was going really well. I do think that Fisker will figure it out. But again, at these valuation levels, who knows? They're still burning cash. They're just starting production here. I mean, it's so early in that story. It's early in all these stories, really. And we can look and say, oh, yeah, they're losing 500,000 a car. But they start selling more cars. The one thing I didn't like about that quarter, if Wasteland Capital is right, is unsold inventory. I don't like to see that. Why are these cars not selling? That's a red flag. That's the red flag for me on Lucid. Not so much that, they're burning money as they're making these cars, that some of these cars are actually sitting as unsold inventory right now. I got to look deeper into that. But if that's correct, I would stay far away from any of these companies that have unsold inventory.
Who sells the cheapest EV that goes the farthest without having a charge? That's what I want. And I haven't done the research. That's who,
I would say probably the cheapest would maybe be like the Chevy Bolt or something like that. But
it's probably the big three are going to fit. That's the one thing too. And we can bring this into the EV. You know who the big players in EV are going to be? It's going to be Tesla. It's going to be Ford. It's going to be General Motors. It's going to be Toyota. It's going to be
Toyota,
Honda.
baby.
They are going to be major players in EV. Yeah. And you know what? At a certain point in time, Ford and GM are a buy. If we think we're not going, let's stop for a second. If we think we're not going into a recession, or if we think there's the potential for a soft landing, you probably should be buying Ford and GM right now. You probably should be buying them right now if you think that. I've not bought that because I'm still sitting with a lot of cash looking here. But as stocks drift higher, I mean, I sold my Ford up at like 18 or 19. I could scalp back $6 here on it now. Maybe it's not a bad call because you know what? They've got some issues with the Lightning. They've got some issues, with some of their other, but eventually Ford and GM probably have the money to figure it out too. So there will be major players here. Toyota, Ford, GM. I do own Toyota. So that is one that I have bought recently. I just bought it like in the last few months here, Toyota. So that's the only one I own of the big automotive companies here right now because I think Toyota will figure it out too. And the PEs on these things are cheap. Again, if we go into recession, though, they're going to go down because people are going to – that's the first thing they don't buy is a new car during a recession. And that's why I'm somewhat hesitant to just load up the automotive makers. But if you got a time horizon of 15 years, 10, 15 years, buying Ford or GM right now or even Toyota, I think you make money.
Why buy a car? Just like why have the expenses of a car? Why not just Uber everywhere? right? You don't have to pay
That's
for
expensive.
I like
insurance.
Uber too.
No,
Yeah.
I
that's
like
expensive.
Uber.
You know what? I mean, there's going to be less and less cars on the road, right? And Uber, I mean, besides living in cities, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably not a good example of amount of miles I put on my car since 2020, but it just all right. Enough. Sorry if I went a
No,
little
it's good. This
overboard
is a
there,
good
but
conversation. I mean, it's
Yeah, at least
about
it's
just
a,
looking
it's a real
overall.
theme that's going to be very important, right?
For
Like
sure.
EV is without a doubt going to be in our lifetime. It's just more along what is the investments that we need to be looking at. So it's a good conversation, Joel.
What
don't
do you
think
think
it's
of
a bad
Ford
one.
and GM, Mitch? Like, what do you think? Would you be looking at these?
you-
I mean, you got P's low.
I think you just need to wait a little bit. This is not the year. This is not the year that you see massive adoption. I think you see it. We need to see what's going to happen with fiscal policy moving out of 24. That's what I think is very important. So that's why I'm focused later on 2025. I think it's a big year for EV. All right, let's keep going. Let's get to the next earnings stock. We still got some other ones to get through. Let's go to PayPal's earnings here. Joel, if you could hear me, if you could switch it to PayPal. If not, no worries. I can put my charts up. Let's go to PayPal here as their earnings Q1 adjusted EPS at $1.17 beat the 98-cent estimate. Sales of $7.04 billion beat the $6.22 billion estimate. They do see Q2 adjusted EPS at $1.15 to $1.17 versus a $1.04 estimate. They see fiscal year 23 adjusted EPS at $4.95 versus a $4.36 estimate. This is one that was just hanging on the bottom. And I felt like there was some buying maybe going on there, especially if you look at the weekly chart. But what do you guys think about this PayPal?
I kind of want to buy because it's cheap, but it's cheap for a reason. Is that there's just other, they got competition coming for them for one. Two is this stock has just so many bag holders in it. It's like bag holder central. When we're looking at it, this was $300 back in 2021. It's $75. It's back to 2018 pricing. Part of me thinks it's cheap enough, and I think the PE on this thing is like 14 or 15 now, Joel. It's gotten to a point where it's absolutely like under a market multiple here now, which I would never thought PayPal would have gotten under a market multiple. I think there's reasons for it, though. Apple, is coming out. I don't know. I'm hesitant on PayPal. I did take a flyer in Square. So I nibbled into a position. I have not even a half size, like a third size position in Square. Just did it here because I'm thinking you've got support here, 56 to 59. It's going to be down here today with PayPal. I kind of like Square. Again, multiple is still not that cheap, but it's not that expensive anymore either. Dorsey is pretty smart. I still feel like Block, I guess we could call it Block. That was the worst thing they did was change the name from Square to Block. But if I'm buying PayPal or Square here, I'd rather own Square.
Just setting up the technicals for the day in PayPal, giving back almost all of the gains of 2023, hit over $88. Now, on the journey up on the first day of the trading year, you put a gap in the stock, and here you are filling that gap. The top of the gap comes in at 71.26. There was a $2 gap in there. So I'm just going to focus on this one candle from the last day of the trading year in 2022. That candle, that range was 69 to 71. Must hold area today. I mean, I know intraday, you may dip below, but if people want to own this stock and they want to own it in size, this is the area. Yeah, maybe you can hold out for the low then move. But I'm looking at this report as it's flashing by. They beat on EPS by almost 20 cents. They beat on revenue by 800 million. They adjust EPS going higher. They adjust for the year and for the quarter. You know what this looks like? This looks like a Crocs report to me. Look at this.
The difference with Crocs, though, was Crocs was actually in favor. PayPal is completely out of favor. So, okay. I mean, the report was fine, and you'd think, okay, well, this is garbage, like stock, which has been not a garbage company, but a garbage stock. You'd think finally this was a pretty good quarter. They're actually going to buy it, and they just turn around and sell it again anyways. Just too many bag holders in there. But maybe eventually, they comb the ditches and they start to turn around some of these stocks here. But PayPal has just been tough investment for a long time.
All right, let's do one last one here. Skyworks Solution as a disaster stock of the day. Q2 adjusted EPS $2.02, misses a $2.03 estimate. Sales of 1.15 billion beat the 1.15 billion estimate. Seems like there was a little bit off there on the millions. Skyworks sees Q3 revenue 1.05 billion to 1.09 billion versus a 1.15 billion estimate. Starting to see a little bit of a turnaround here. What do you guys think?
A turnaround which way?
Just starting to see at least some of these semiconductors going a little bit lower today. So
I mean, this is an Apple parts supplier here too, which is concerning. We've seen this multiple times here now, where it seems like the Apple suppliers, some of them are not doing that great, which is somewhat of a red flag here. We're actually going to hear from who are we hearing from tonight? There's another Apple parts supplier here. Oh, it's Light. How'd Light do? They did this morning. How'd Light do? And they're down too. Some of these Apple parts suppliers aren't doing that great.
Yeah, that's down big too.
That's concerning.
Because Apple's making
obviously
more
we already got the
yeah.
Apple quarter, so it was fine. But I just like some of this. It's weird. It's a weird market. It's not adding up. Like some of this. Again, the Apple quarter wasn't that great either, though. But they just forgave it because it's Apple. So like Gene Munster, who knows more than Gene Munster about Apple? Nobody. You know, like the guy is covered in Apple nonstop. He was on CNBC saying this was not a great quarter. Market didn't care. They're doing another buyback. They're like, buyback's good enough. Let's go. And, you know, that was really the driver there was that buyback. How much was the buyback in Apple? Wasn't it like another 90 bill?
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the driver of Apple's share price. You know, let's just call it out here. Apple has not had the growth that it had 5 years ago. The growth has slowed substantially. What has really driven share price has been buybacks because there's less shares outstanding. So there's two ways to bring up your EPS. One is to bring up the E. The other is to bring down the shares outstanding. And that is what Apple has mastered doing. And they continue to do it. So people see that and say, hey, you're going to bring those shares outstanding down? That means that share price is probably going to, you know, continue to go up because that EPS goes up when the shares outstanding go down. That has been their real driver.
Just one thing going back to the Apple report and just some of the stuff that I read that Gene put out. It's you know, we're all looking at like, oh, how many iPhones are they selling? Oh, they didn't sell enough. But where Apple's trying to drive more money is just by the people that actually have the phone, right? The services, you know, they're keeping the number steady. Maybe people are not buying as much, you know, as many new iPhones, but what about the additional services that you're getting from them? So that, you know, that's one thing that people have talked about a lot. But as far as this Skyworks going, you got a step down seller. He wants out. He's offered at 93.40. I don't see at any multiple low area until 86.5, 87. I don't think it will get there today. It very well could. I would just maybe think about a nice round number like 90, but a daily low at 89. I mean, if I was trying to buy this thing, if I was covering a short, I would just look at these daily lows from the beginning of the year under the pre-market low. I'd say, hey, hit me at 92.61. Hey, hit me at 92. Hey, hit me at 91.50. Hey, hit me at 90.5 and just see where you finally run out of sellers on that one.
It's just down 11%. You're making new lows here now. The breakdown here. I don't like the chart of SWKS either. Again, it's such a tale of two markets. I mean, we bring up one stock. Oh, the chart looks pretty good. You bring another stock. The chart looks terrible. I mean, this has gotta be one of the toughest markets to just, you know, like if you're on the wrong side, you're getting crushed. If you're on the right side, you're just making money. And, you know, obviously on Twitter, you know, we know how Twitter works, that, you know, nobody talks about their losers and they all just talk about their winners because it's just, you know, it's just a bragging platform.
Isn't that what you do, bro? Come on, Dennis.
That's what you do, man. That's what you do. That's how we do it.
I'll tell you what, I'll take us to our segment today. And Joel, if you don't like, you know, Fisker and Lucid so much, maybe you got to talk to my man, Dan. Let's get to the action. TradeZero Tuesday. What's going on, Dan? How we doing?
Gentlemen, happy Tuesday. Obviously, Mitch, we're going to lead in with your jersey. Tough game for the Knicks last night. You know,
come on, man.
Really tough series so far. So you put it out there. I had to comment on it.
Oh,
Listening
it's a
to you
got to,
guys.
got to. It's Butler, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It is. The two games he weren't there. They actually played well. But yeah, just commenting on some of the stuff you guys were talking about as relates to electric cars and GM and Ford and whatnot. I live in the city. I live in Brooklyn downtown, which is right by New York City. In my neighborhood, which is like alternate side streets parking, there's very little parking spaces. The city has blocked off tons of parking spaces for rideshare, for zip car type things, where there are dedicated parking spots for this.
Yeah.
They're about to implement um, uh, the um, the surge pricing for the city, where if you're driving in the city north of like 96th Street in your own car, that your congestion pricing that you have to now pay to drive into the city. So the writing is on the wall, fellas. Kind of, Joel, what you were saying is, the powers that be, especially if you live in and around big cities, I think they are putting things in place to really discourage car ownership and really moving to rideshare type services that don't take up the parking spaces and don't clog up the roadways. So I think it's the move to that happening is kind of already been started. It's interesting because I bought a Tesla back in 2019. I'm on my second one already. I love the car. But when they delivered the car to me in 2019, they said to me, in Brooklyn, it's not possible to charge the car because my house, then the sidewalk, and then there's parking space. You never know that you're going to get that parking space again.
Oh yeah.
So they're starting to put chargers in and around the city. But the woman told me when she delivered the car, it's like, well, we have another place in Rockaway, Queens, about half hour away. I'm going to put my charging station there and use that and use the public ones and whatnot. She goes, oh no, don't worry, because in a year from now, Elon has promised that your car can drive from Rockaway to Brooklyn. And by the way, put a passenger in it and you can charge him a taxi fare as the car drives them from one house to the other. So we're still waiting for that to happen. But, interesting that you guys are talking about the EV sector today. Obviously, we saw Tesla. We saw what happened. It was right around when I got my car in June of 19, when Elon Musk was sleeping on the factory floor and whatnot, and really trying to turn that corner of, being able to produce the amount of cars that they needed to sell, and going from a big losing company into something that was making some money, and it's not an easy task. So seeing what's happening with Lucid, I love the car, but the fact that they're not moving cars off the lot is a problem, and I think many folks are scared of it turning into a Saturn or some other company that no longer exists. And if you're riding around in this thing that the company doesn't exist anymore, kind of what do you do for service, parts, this, that, the other thing? So I think until they can demonstrate that there's going to be some stability there, that they're going to struggle, and it's sort of like a catch-22 situation that they're in, which kind of sucks because the car's beautiful. I just saw my first one driving around the other day and winning the Motor Trend Car of the Year last year. I think they put out a great product, but they have to get the company in gear.
Definitely need to get in gear. And now one thing I definitely want to ask you about, because you definitely can see it, right, is we started seeing again yesterday, the regional banks starting to get hit. So how are those short locates out there for regional banks? I know the liquidity is already low to begin with, so I'm sure they ain't cheap out there, and a lot of people looking for some sort of protection maybe. What are you seeing out there, Dan?
I mean, we have them. It's whether it be via a locate or a pre-borrow. We're always, garnering enough supply for our folks. We have the extra facility where we allow people to sell the locates back, which gives us another full bucket of supply of shares that really you can't get anywhere else. And it gives our folks an edge because they know either if I don't have it at the moment, which is very rare, that there is a possibility of getting those shares to be able to short at some point by nature of other folks selling it back. It also gives them an edge because if you're into a short and you no longer need the locate or the pre-borrow, you can what we call market for credit and sell it back to the next person that wants to short it. And I've been talking to you guys and showing you guys our Pro platform, which is our flagship. And if you're a professional active trader, that would be the platform that you use. But I also wanted to show you guys and talk about, we do have 2 free versions of our platform. They're full featured, powered by Benzinga News, which we love on all of our platforms. But there's no monthly fee. They allow you to get into your locates. They allow you to sell them back. And if I could, I'd just like to take you guys on just a 2-minute diversion into the platform to really demonstrate to you guys and to the audience that, just because it's free doesn't mean it's not great. This is actually the platform that I trade on, and I love it.
Yeah, while you bring it up, Dan, I'll just make some comments about, free platforms. And I think we always talk about it, right? You got to find what tools work best for you, right? There's certain traders that are going to need, the speed and execution. And yeah, you'll want the kind of the top flagship software. And then there's going to be certain times where you're just not that type of trader. You're not that active. Maybe you're more an investor, swing trader. You open positions at the close. Maybe you might not need to be paying so much for these tools. So I'll go ahead and I'll put your screen up here, Dan. You could run us through. So it was good to see a little bit of a free example here.
So fellas, as you can see here, it's full featured, order entry, charting, news. All of the news channels that you guys carry are available here. So you can kind of, navigate those from the platform. You have intraday and historical charts, your portfolio, your watch list, which we can pop open a level 2. I don't have that enabled for myself because I don't want to pay the exchange fee. But I do want to show you guys on the locate side, how easy it is. We've been talking about Lucid. We see that if I wanted to bring down these shares, look like the stock's popped over the last couple of minutes. It's topping out at 7 here, kind of running into
Can we zoom in a little bit more? Just to see
can you make it just big screen there?
Just like make that little borrow because it's hard. I've got these old eyes here, Dan.
Top right, three dots. Top right, three dots, and then the zoom. You'll see the zoom right there.
There you go. All right.
Let's zoom that right in, and we'll get really close.
We learn something new every day, boys.
There you go.
Hey, that's what it's all about.
That's what we want to see.
Fantastic. So Lucid, 100 shares. If I wanted to take this down, it'd cost me 70 cents. I'm going to actually do it. So now what happens is it allows me to now go in and short Lucid on 100 shares, which I could do.
Watching Dan make $1 million.
You have the ability.
You better make money on this trade, Dan.
Listen, for me and showing you guys, it's not about making money. It's actually about the ability for us to
get it done.
Short a stock that's not shortable.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean,
and when I hit the accept button, the indicator changes from a red LR, which is locate required, to shortable. So I have 100 of 100 available. So I'm going to actually tend to my smart route on a limit order pre-market.
Here's another good point too, is see how he's direct routing. So he's picking his destination here. And you can pick, go to that drop-down box because there's so many platforms that just don't give you this option. Like you have all these different destinations where you can send the order to. Because what happens is sometimes, when you're just using, these retail smart routers, is these routers go out and they go somewhere else. You can actually route where you want the order to go here, correct?
That's right. So that's our smart router. That would be a feature that you would ask us for. Typically, we only give folks the access to the free stuff, just because if you're not sure of when you want to send an order to ARCA, when you want to send it to NASDAQ.
Yeah, it'll figure it out.
But people, either you figure it out by learning the hard way or knowing what you're doing, because many of these routes, if you're taking liquidity, we're going to charge you because we get charged. If you're adding liquidity, you can actually get paid to trade here at TradeZero, where routing to an ARCA or a NASDAQ and sending a non-marketable limit order out. I'm going to put it in a short order right now. It's 7. We'll see in my portfolio, I have this open order now to short. And so if this order executes and I would have routed it to an ARCA or a NASDAQ, I would actually have 10 cents added into my account. So it's a nice benefit of knowing what you're doing. Nice little rebate as it relates to direct routing. And so that's an option here. So I'm waiting for this order to fill. The order is still pending. Let's just cancel it and let us resend it. I just got filled. You guys heard that? I'm not sure. And so now I am short 100 shares of Lucid at $7. Ideally, I'd like to go in and cover it at a penny better or more. I'm going to hit my cover button.
Lucid, where's the dreamers out there?
We are now waiting for that to fill. And again, had I routed this order to ARCA or NASDAQ, And once it does fill, basically, I illustrated what adding liquidity is, where you're sending an order out at a price that doesn't immediately match.
Yeah.
So I was selling at the ask. Now I'm looking to buy at the bid, which is why I'm sitting here waiting. I'm waiting for someone to sell shares at $6.99, and I would be the buyer covering my short of 100 shares, making a penny, so making $1 there. And like I said, if I was using my direct routing options, this would be a profitable trade by $1.20. And then after I was done with that, boom, we just filled it there. We made a buck.
Look
There
at
we
this.
go.
Look at these.
Real-
Making
Ah,
money
we're
live
printing
here on
money, boys.
PreMarket Prep. I'm telling you,
But the
man.
story is not over. I
Yeah.
can now click this credit button here and then sell my locate back for 100 shares of Lucid. Again, same way, adding liquidity, taking liquidity. I am now waiting on a first in, first out basis for someone else who wants to short Lucid to take the locate from me. When that happens, I will be paid anywhere from 30 to 50% of what the current locate price is now. And the person buying it will be able to get the shares in.
Yeah.
So this is a quick, demo of our Zero Free platform. Our mobile app, a lot of the same features and functionality. We've just added in hot buttons into the mobile app and hotkeys, which I really haven't seen done before. We're really proud of that, and I think for folks who are looking to get involved in the markets, especially bi-directionally, or folks who are looking to get in and be in a place where they can direct their order flow and routing, you can do that on either our free platforms, which I've showed you now, or also our flagship Zero Pro platform, which typically will carry a monthly fee of $59.
You don't get any of these tools like on your Robinhood and stuff, correct? Like I don't have Robinhood, but from my understanding, I don't even think they let you short stocks
They don't.
on Robinhood,
No,
do they?
Man. They do
I mean,
not.
so this is the
That's
difficulty.
too much for Robinhood.
And so many people like a Robinhood or these other retail brokers that they're not getting all the tools. That's the nice thing about TradeZero is they're giving you the tools and you can still use the platform for free. So that's the nice thing.
Although interestingly, guys, Robinhood does provide short availability to other broker dealers. So while they don't
just
allow
not to their own customers,
just not to their own customers,
Just not to their own customers.
Goodness.
They are a big supplier of intraday liquidity and also pre-borrows.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is why you have to be looking around what can benefit you as a trader, right? And always be asking yourself, which am I using the best tool? Go looking, right? That's why we bring you guys here to TradeZero, so you guys can take a look and see if it makes sense for you, right? That's what it's all about. And definitely, I agree with it, having abilities to short, because I know that there's so many traders that just only go long. Yes, it's a lot more difficult to kind of get into, but once you really see that there's another side of the coin, you can go after it at certain times, and that can definitely help you. All right.
I talk about on this show all the time about
Yeah,
trading
you do,
market
Dennis.
neutral. I mean, if I
Right.
didn't have the ability to short stocks, I don't even know if I would make money. I'm
You
not
may
even
be sitting
sure.
on your hands many days.
I'd be sitting on my hands all the time. And in a bull market, yeah, sure, 2020, we're all killing it because stocks going up and we're long only. But in a bear market of 2021, you know how difficult it is to just buy stocks, play one side when the market is going straight down? That's hard for even day traders. So
Yeah.
I've always played market neutral. Like if I didn't have the ability to short stocks, I don't think I'd be where I am today.
And listen, we've all been in long positions where you feel like, damn, this thing is dropping so fast. Like they never go up as fast as they go down,
No, they
especially
don't.
when you're in a long position. And so, like, wouldn't it be great to actually participate on the downside movement? So
yeah, I always thought that Joel had a secret TradeZero account and was shorting Peloton and
we're
taking
waiting
his
for
money,
you
but
guys. We are waiting for you guys with open arms.
I was waiting for it. Have a good one, Dan. We'll get you
Guys,
back
be
on
well. Great stuff
TradeZero
again
Tuesday.
today.
Thanks,
Check
Dan.
it out, team. Like always,
Be
I
well,
just threw
boys.
up the link for you guys. Have a good one, Dan. Always good
Thanks,
to have
Dan.
you, my friend. Definitely check it out, guys. We got our own kind of stocks landing page, of course, stocks to watch there. Check it out on TradeZero. Just threw up the link. How are we doing in the market right now, Joel?
This has been one of the quietest pre-market prep shows. We've been in a really tight range here since we started the show. 4140, that's your weekly swing number. We're trying to get above yesterday's low, but right now, no one's making a move. The only thing I see in the green right here,
AMD again. Just driving me bananas. AMD.
Why you
Okay,
listen to me,
okay.
bro?
Google's in the green too. The Google announced
just-
something with a new AI product as well.
I know.
last
Yeah,
night.
Goog-
Yeah.
So
the Googster.
AI is the and IBM is it's their
IBM,
Think
big,
event here
big.
today, and they're up
Thank
too.
you. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. for that
There's
one.
3 stocks that are tech stocks that are green, and they're all talking AI. Google talked AI last night. IBM's talking AI today, and AMD. We've been talking AI. Joel renamed it AIMD. Ever since you renamed that AIMD, the stock's been straight
That
up.
was the buy. That was
Straight
the
up.
buy.
That's a Joel Elconin bottom on AMD.
It's going on right now. So is IBM making moves right now? Because it's 8:30 to 9:15.
I see it
a.m.,
down.
So
I
No,
see
it's
it down.
ex-dividend. It is not
Oh,
down.
yeah.
It is
You got me.
ex-dividend by $1.66. The adjusted close on IBM is $121.74. It is currently trading
up.
at 51 cents.
8:30
Got to
is
adjust for
when-
those dividends, folks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a nice one. You took it home for the divvy, and you got a profit.
And you're getting
that,
paid.
That is a nice one there.
So
Oh,
just to
good
make
call,
sure,
Dennis.
the Think event started at 8:30 and is going to 9:15. So if you look from 8:30, at least we are slightly up from there. We'll see if that can continue to the trend or not. IBM having that Think event, we'll see if it actually makes a big difference in the market, especially towards the intraday action. All right. Any other one?
Boeing.
Boeing.
Boeing's
Yeah.
Boeing has just had a headline here break about 10 minutes ago. Very recently, we were on with Dan when the headline was breaking. I believe they got another contract. I'm going to grab it here, but anyways, yeah. So BA is trading up $4 here right now.
Ryanair places its biggest
Ryanair
plane
order, the largest single order in the company's history,
for up to
a
300
$40 billion order. 300. Ryanair orders 300 Boeing 737 Maxes. 40 bill. That's an order.
The best part is who's going to get Ryanair right on their ticker.
That's an order, I tell you.
RYNR.
I think
No,
it's
you know, it's like a million symbols, you'll
RYAAY.
never get it right.
Too bad. 5 out.
Out. As soon as it has 5 tickers, I never trade it. Done.
Yeah, it's,
Uh,
90, it's almost
It's too slow.
$98 there, but that's RYAAY.
Wow, that's
Big
a
order
big
here for Boeing. I mean, is this give Boeing the vote of confidence? Been leaking. They had that whole SPR debacle there about 3 weeks ago. Stock was down. SPR has been getting killed, which deservingly so because it was their fault. BA bouncing here this morning. Is this just another rip to sell? Or is this order move the needle for BA shareholders?
The question remains, how many delays are there going to be before they deliver one of those planes?
Let
You
better
alone.
hope SPR doesn't give them problems.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's such an ongoing saga with this. SPR really hasn't bounced either, huh? Look at that. Whew, still leaking. Got some support at 24. But Boeing, we were talking about this one on pre-market prep plus. And I mean, you have a clear area of support. And I know Jar Jar's been long this one for a long time. And just looking at this whole area, this goes back to the 2023 low. You just undercut it yesterday or a couple days ago, but you're back above it. Man, I really, to get me confident that this thing's going to 230, 240, 250, I would like to see a solid retracement here. You went from this called 220 to 190, 30-point move. I mean, if this thing could get back like 205, 206, establish a sustained bid, then maybe. If not, it just, you hang out near the bottom of the yearly support, eventually take it out. Also, Boeing, I think, will be a little bit market dependent too, right? If the SPOOs bust above 4,200, they'll take Boeing along with it. Haven't looked at the airlines in a while. They're kind of choppy, nothing special there. But all right, I'm gonna.
They've been coming back. I don't know if that's the case, Joel.
Yeah.
Airlines have actually been ripping since Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, there was
since Mitch came back from
right.
his cruise, man.
You're right.
Royal
You're
Caribbean
right.
is up huge. UAL has been starting to move here too.
Forgot the bank
Again,
yesterday. There was a mention to get
Ooh,
all three of the
I'm
top
wrong.
American, Delta, and United. One bank mentioned it yesterday and said potential upside of 100%. I forgot the exact bank, so I don't want to mention it there, but I tell you, take a look at that. I'm watching AAL, UAL, DAL. I wouldn't mind having a piece of all three.
No, me neither.
RCL,
I mean,
look at
if
that.
you think, again, it's this recession or no recession trade, but if there's going to be a soft landing, nobody likes soft landings better than airlines. I thought that was a good joke, but
Ha, 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 ha.
I tried. But I'm
You
telling
did it,
these
my friend.
airlines actually, they look like they're trying here. The valuations are extremely attractive, but again, is it peak earnings? That's what we don't know. So we know if we go into a recession, the E will fall like very quickly, and that's going to obviously knock these prices down. But if you think we're getting a soft landing, I like UAL.
What about Love? Why don't you do some bottom fishing?
You know what? Love hedges themselves too. Like they're a conservative airline. So, and you know what? Love's right on the lows here too. What else is going on with Love? What is Love's problem?
They ground.
There's
ground
literally
their
it's the
They run
worst
on-
one. It was always the best one, and it's the
They
worst
run on
one.
Windows 97, Dennis.
Is that what they're doing?
They like one day they just like, oh, no flights today.
Yeah,
canceling
we're not
80
feeling it. We're not
Yeah,
feeling it
we're
today.
We don't fly
you
today.
know.
We don't fly on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that was yeah. Sure
We made
missed
all that
the
We love you,
$9
Love.
$9 flights back and forth from Chicago, and then you would sit in the back of the plane. You would face the people. There would be
That's
3
always
seats,
great,
and then 3 seats, and then the other 3 seats at the back would be facing the other people. They weren't like in stack rows, but that was a long time ago. All right, I'm just going to recap things here. We're in the red by 16.5 handles, kind of limited support area, except if we can hold. We're trading right around Monday's low. So if we can hold Monday's low, 37.50, then work our way back to mid-range on the session. If we lose that pre-market low, there's nowhere to go. At least until 41.11.50. That was your inter-day low from Friday. Triple D, I'll catch up with you at the top of the hour. Everyone, have a great trading day, and should be a fun one.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt
I
me.
get a neck injury here.
Don't hurt me no more. All right, team. I will let you guys know some trades that I have on right now, Dennis. So I don't know about Warren, man. I don't know about Oxy, bro. I'm going after some.
Are you
I
short
went after
Oxy?
it. I showed it XOM yesterday. I've been calling for 111 for multiple days. Yesterday, we get right close to it, 110.97. It rejects right off the 50 moving average and comes right back down. So I got XOM at 109.91 as I added throughout the day. Looking for that to continue.
For some reason, XOM has just gotten a pass here. And
it
I don't
has.
get why the other ones have all even hit and ExxonMobil has not. So I don't mind that short, actually. I still like the Oxy level from 57 to 58. I've been playing it, day trading it, bouncing it off that level a couple of times. Still have a core position in Oxy here too, just because I believe in Warren Buffett. I also took a flyer in PXD, which we have talked about Pioneer. So not huge, but just getting a little bit exposure. So half size position in PXD. Just taking a shot. Remember, it was rumored to be in play. It's come all the way back down to where those rumors were, but this company still makes a lot of money here. Obviously, the dividend is variable, so you can't just look at 11%. I'm going to get paid to wait. We know if the E goes down, that variable dividend will come down as well. But I just think where there's smoke, maybe there's a little bit of fire. And you know what? Valuation on PXD is very attractive here still too. So I have 2 half-size positions right now. Well, I have half-size position in PXD. Probably only a half-size core position in OXY, but trading OXY. So what I've been doing is buying at the close, taking overnight, hedging with XLE, hoping we get a Warren pop, because I still think he's going to do some buying in here. I don't think he's done. Even though everybody thinks he's done now, I don't think he's done yet.
I also went after XLE yesterday, so I have that one at 80.78. That's not looking too bad, down to 79.78 already. So a nice little point overnight. We'll see what happens on those swing trades, and we'll see if we can get a little bit more on that. I did see in the chat they wanted to talk NVIDIA really quickly. So Dennis, any thoughts on NVIDIA, or you think still could have room
I'd
for
rather own
higher.
AMD. Again, I'll just stick with the AMD train. Unbelievable resilience, though. NVIDIA here, too. I mean, a
Just
new
won't stop, can't
52-week
stop.
high yesterday. The AI talk is real. The AI story is real. There's some stories that come and go. Blockchain, we're all going to blockchain. You don't hear anything about blockchain now. I'm going to say 3 years from now, you're going to hear a lot more about AI. I've said this before. I think the AI story is real. I think AI is coming a lot faster than a lot of other people think it's coming. And I think two powers, who are going to power this is NVIDIA and AMD. So again, 60 times or 30 times, I'd rather own AMD. On pullbacks, though, maybe not a bad idea to own both. But I just can't bring myself to pay 60 times. I wish it was like 30 times and I would buy NVIDIA.
I tried to go about this with the leverage trades that are out there. You know how they have like the 1.5 bearish thing.
What's the symbol on that one?
Oh man, chat, help me out. It's NVDS.
There's all these 1.5 times.
Yeah, NVDS. This is the one that I tried to go after, and I lost on it on a swing. But
it's the reason bear NVIDIA.
It's the bear. You know me, Dennis.
So weird. So it goes 1.25 times. Like, why create this product if you want to short?
I'll tell you, Dennis.
It's still shorting 100 shares, short 125. Why?
It helped me, Dennis. Why? Because I have a small account challenge that I'm doing for the live trade, and it's only $500 in capital. I'm not going to use some of the locate to get this stock in that broker. So if I use 3% already to just get the stock, I mean that's not going to help me at all. So I went long this one instead to just get it like directly, right? Get some direct exposure to the short
I just think they're created for accounts that can't short stocks. Is what I think.
Exactly. That's what I think is
created for.
That's what it is, Dennis, is that a lot of people are also not willing to pay the short locates on certain brokerages and things like that. So
you're still paying and you're paying way more in a vehicle like this.
Exactly. You don't notice
way more in hidden fees in a vehicle like
hidden
this.
Hidden fees.
For sure. And the short locate on NVIDIA is nothing.
Nothing.
Like it's almost nothing.
Yeah,
it's
depends
not like
on
you're shorting AMC. The short locate on NVIDIA will be a fraction of a percent a year. Very, very small. Like, to Dan's point, fractions of a cent. So these fees, and they do add up. I have my short fees every month. I'm paying those. They do add up. But again, it's cost of doing business. Sometimes it's the cost of doing business. Don't think you're buying some reversed ETF that you're not paying short fees. You're paying it indirectly.
Yeah, you'll find some way. They get you. They always get you, team. We'll keep going. Let's keep battling. We'll see what happens in the market today. Eyes open on those banks, right? That's what I'll be watching. Dennis, you too. We'll see if we see some leaking out there.
Good luck,
guys
everyone.
Keep up with Triple D Trader like always, team. Have a good one, Dennis Dick. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to bring you now over to the live trading action. We've been talking about it. I got some small account challenge going on, and so Ryan's been stepping up, still taking the lead right now. I got to battle back. Let's see what I can get into today. You guys come over to live trading and see what we can do. You guys heard about the swing trades, of course. Those are for start swing trade, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And of course, don't miss Joel Elconin's closing print also. We got a lot of options for you guys to watch. The big thing is hit the thumbs up and now come over to live trading as we continue. And are you a part of the book club, team? If you're not, definitely join in. Now, one thing I do want to mention is I know Sunday's Mother's Day, so I think we're going to go ahead and give at least a pass on the book club. But what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking we just shift it over to Monday night because I still want to do it, team. And I want to keep us up on the book. I want to get to the next book so that we can keep learning to the next level. So I'm going to put out an email today to give you guys the option if we want to do it on Monday or skip it to the following week. You guys smash the like. We'll see you now over on live trading. We got a lot for you guys today on Benzinga. A lot of interviews going on, a lot of action. So if you don't want to miss it, stay right here and don't go anywhere, team. Smash the like. Let's get it started. It's time for live trading. That's coming up now.